Set. Board members, you all set? Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education, I'd like to thank you for being in attendance, both virtually and in person, for tonight's board meeting. At this time, I'd like to reconvene the meeting of the Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education to order for Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Burkett, present. Ferentino,
Present.
Gothier,
Present.
McKindy,
Present.
Scarpino,
Present.
Thomas,
Present.
Zettler.
Present.
You have 7 board members present.
Thank you. Dr. Harkin?
Yes, I'd like to invite Principal Kim Wright to lead us in the pledge with her Parkview students tonight.
Parents, feel free to stand up, take pictures. It's a great time. Face that way. Face that way, honey.
Good evening, Superintendent Harkin, Deputy Superintendent Smith, Board of Education members, and D300 community members. I am Mrs. Wright, principal at Parkview Elementary School, and
I am Michelle Ravenar, Assistant Principal, Parkview Elementary School.
I would like to thank you all for inviting our wonderful Parkview scholars here tonight to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. This evening, we have our students from 2nd grade who always show Panther pride by being respectful, responsible, safe, and prepared to learn.
This evening, we have Haley Dunn, Isabel Castillo, Emmanuel Mendoza Pizano, Ermelinda Ceja, Clinton Tracy, Lysander Lagunas, Isabella Cruz, and Olivia O'Donnell. Please join our scholars as they lead the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Parents, you're free to go if you want to. If you want, you don't have to stick around, but if you want to, you can. For those who have watched our board meetings, both in person and over the internet, you will remember we have rules of decorum. These rules serve a purpose, so we as a board can have a meaningful and productive board meeting. In order for this to occur, decorum must be maintained. The following are the rules of decorum. First, there's no need for anyone to call out comments during our meeting or to raise their voices, nor to interrupt another speaker or presenter. We as a board will listen to you and we will be respectful. We will consider your comments, but will not dialogue or engage with speakers in this forum. Board members may choose to discuss matters brought up during public comment during board discussion. However, I need to remind everyone that this would be a board discussion, and the board will not dialogue or engage with anyone other than the superintendent and other board members. I ask you to please be respectful, civil, and courteous during our meeting. Second, if a person chooses to be disruptive, I will gavel the person and ask them to please stop their disruptive behavior. Additionally, our district safety officer or his agent may warn them that if they choose to continue their disruptive behavior, additional consequences will be forthcoming. Third, if a person chooses to continue to be disruptive and not follow the rules, they will be removed from our meeting. This action is a direct result of the person's choice to be disruptive. Fourth, we as a board will respectfully listen to each speaker. Just because we didn't vote the way someone wanted us to does not mean we didn't listen or take into consideration what they had to say. Also, please remember we all learn differently. Some of us take notes during presentations and therefore take our eyes off the speaker. It doesn't mean we are not listening. Fifth, in our effort to accommodate more seating in our boardroom, we respectfully request that the audience remain in their seats throughout the duration of the meeting, with the exception of using the restroom or speaking at the podium. Sixth, finally, I want to thank you in advance for your cooperation. The board and I look forward to a meaningful and productive meeting. Item number 5 is the approval of the agenda. There have been no changes to the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Zettler,
Aye.
Ferentino,
Aye.
Gauthier,
Aye.
Burkett, aye. McKindy,
Aye.
Thomas. Scarpino.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Dr. Harkin?
Yes, I would like to have Mr. Mark Wetzel, Assistant Superintendent for High Schools, to lead us tonight in our recognition of our Jacobs High School academic recognitions.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Harkin, and community members. We are excited tonight to recognize academic scholars from Jacobs High School. Some of these students are here for a single recognition, while others are here for multiple recognitions. Before proceeding with the recognitions, I'd like to provide an overview of the awards. The SAT STARS Award is granted to students who scored a composite of 1,400 or higher on the SAT out of a total of 1,600. This is a two-part assessment with evidence-based reading and writing and mathematics. We have a number of AP Scholars. AP Scholars are broken down into 3 distinctions: AP Scholars with Honor, and AP Scholars with Distinction. The AP Scholar Award is granted to students who receive scores of 3 or higher on 3 or more AP exams. The AP Scholar with Honor Award is granted to students who receive an average score of at least 3.25 on all AP exams taken, and scores of 3 or higher on 4 or more of these exams. And finally, the AP Scholar with Distinction Award is granted to students who receive an average score of at least 3.5 on all AP exams taken, and scores of 3 or higher on 5 or more of these exams. Outstanding accomplishments for any of these categories. Over the past several years, we continued to have a growing AP Capstone program. The AP Capstone Diploma is granted to students who earn scores of 3 or higher in AP Seminar and AP Research, and on 4 additional AP exams of their choosing. The AP Seminar and Research Certificate is granted to students who earn scores of 3 or higher in both AP Seminar and AP Research. Tonight, we do have a National Merit semifinalist. Of over 1.6 million entries, only 16,000 of the highest scores are recognized as National Merit semifinalists in September from the PSAT/MNSQT given in the fall of their junior year. Finally, College Board now has a national recognition program called Big Future that honors underrepresented students for their achievements. Jacobs High School has several students who have applied and qualified for the National Hispanic Recognition Award or the National African American Recognition Award. Students who qualify for this recognition must have a GPA of 3.5 or higher and must score in the top 10% of test takers within the program in Illinois or the PSAT NMSQT or PSAT 10, or have earned a score of 3 or higher on 2 or more distinct AP exams in the eligible exam periods. Many of the students who have earned recognition tonight are highly involved beyond academics. With extracurricular activities and other commitments and obligations, not all of our students were able to make it tonight. But know that we are proud of all of the students for these accomplishments. Parents, thank you for the work that you continue to do with your kids. It's meaningful. At this time, I'd like to welcome Principal Chris Testoni to the podium to honor the students from Jacobs High School.
Face that way. Face that way.
Yeah, they're just separate.
To go 2 rows.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's so many of them.
Well, okay, just like graduation, we got them in. That's the hard part, so congratulations. Dr. Harkin, Board of Education and District 300 community, I'm Dr. Testoni, and I couldn't be prouder to be here tonight to represent these fine young men and women here who stand before you. I know full well that District 300's mission is to address the whole child. And so with that, we have many students that are highly successful in many different areas. And tonight, it is just such an honor to be able to present to you some of the highest performing academics that Jacobs High School has to offer. So I know Mr. Wetzel talked to you through about the awards that these students have received. So I'm going to go ahead and call out the students. Students, I'd ask you to raise your hand when your name is read. Some people have won multiple awards. So with that, I'm going to start with the Jacobs High School SAT Stars Award winners. And tonight we have Alexander Bisanoff with us. For our next award, we have our Jacobs High School AP Scholars. We have Amanda Albrecht, Julia Burley, James Cleary, Milena Farley, Eva Grant, Caitlin Gedeth, Mishna Hanafi, Hannah Hendrick, Zeba Iqbal, Abraham Lentz, Devin McTagg, Colin Fan, Shamar Salis, Neil Soriano, Logan Stotler, Aiden Sakaris, Jet Trommer, and Megan Yulin. And I gotta make sure I get that right up here. Sorry, guys. Didn't see that behind you. All right. For our next award, we have our AP Scholars with honors. We have Cameron Cook, Austin Din, Noah Gober, Ishal Syed, Zoe Winters, and Sean Yakominski. For our Jacobs High School AP Capstone Diploma, we have Cameron Cook. For Jacobs High School AP Seminar and Research Certificate, we have Megan Cranston, Chloe Georgievic, Juliana Juarez. For our Jacobs High School National African American Recognition Award, we have Shamar Salis. And for our Jacobs High School National Hispanic Recognition Award, we have Isabel Hauk and Alexander Ramaki. Sorry, I apologize. I would like to say one thing off script, though, because it was brought to my attention just recently that Cameron Cook, if you raise your hand, I'd like to let everybody know that Cameron Cook is the only student in the nation out of 357 students to earn a perfect score on our AP Capstone Research exam. What an honor. As I know Mr. Wetzel alluded to, many of our students excel in many arenas, and tonight we get to celebrate the core foundation of academia that we really set for our students at Jacobs. So congratulations, students. And on our way out, I would invite you to circle around, and we'll go ahead and have you shake the members of the boards of education. So we'll start with the group up front. There.
Parents, congratulations to you. Outstanding job. Please go ahead, be with your kids right now. Outstanding job. Outstanding.
Thank you, moms and dads.
Great job.
Thank you so much.
Board members, we're going to take just a couple minutes, let the parents go, and then have our next group come in. So we're just going to wait a while. Yes, tell you what, do I have a motion to take a 5-minute recess?
So moved. Second.
Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll? Yes, yes. Just right there. Fiorentino? There you go.
Who made the motion?
I did, he seconded.
There you go.
Aye.
Zettler,
Aye.
Fiorentino, Burkett, aye. Gauthier,
Aye.
McKindy,
Aye.
Scarpino.
Aye.
Thomas. Motion passes 7-0.
5 minutes. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education, I'd like to thank you for being in attendance, both virtually and in person, for tonight's board meeting. At this time, I would like to reconvene the meeting of the Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education to order for Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Burkett, present. Fiorentino,
Present.
Gauthier,
Present.
McKindy, Scarpino,
Present.
Thomas. Zettler.
Present.
Yeah, 7 board members present.
Thank you. As a reminder to those in attendance this evening, I have read the rules of decorum to all the individuals that were here in the beginning. I am going to read the rules of decorum again for this group. For those who have watched our board meetings both in person and over the internet, you will remember we have rules of decorum. These rules serve a purpose so we as a board can have a meaningful and productive board meeting. In order for this to occur, decorum must be maintained. The following are the rules of decorum. First, there is no need for anyone to call out comments during our meeting or to raise their voices, nor to interrupt another speaker or presenter. We as a board will listen to you and we will be respectful. We will consider your comments, but will not dialogue or engage with speakers in this forum. Board members may choose to discuss matters brought up during public comment during board discussion. However, I need to remind everyone that this would be a board discussion, and the board will not dialogue or engage with anyone other than the superintendent and other board members. I ask you to please be respectful, civil, and courteous during our meeting. Second, if a person chooses to be disruptive, I will gavel the person and ask them to please stop their disruptive behavior. Additionally, our district safety officer or his agent may warn them that if they choose to continue their disruptive behavior, additional consequences will be forthcoming. Third, if a person chooses to continue to be disruptive and not follow the rules, they will be removed from our meeting. This action is a direct result of the person's choice to be disruptive. Fourth, we as a board will respectfully listen to each speaker. Just because we didn't vote the way some wanted us to does not mean we didn't listen or take into consideration what you had to say. Also, please remember we all learn differently. Some of us take notes during presentations and therefore take our eyes off of the speaker. It doesn't mean we are not listening. Fifth, in our effort to accommodate more seating in our boardroom, we respectfully request that the audience remain in their seats throughout the duration of the meeting, with the exception of using the restroom or speaking at the podium. Finally, I want to thank you in advance for your cooperation. The board and I look forward to a meaningful and productive meeting. Dr. Harkin, Superintendent's report.
Yes, just in continuation of our staff recognition, I do want to acknowledge School Bus Driver Appreciation Day. On October 22nd, District 300 celebrated School Bus Driver Appreciation Day, and I would like to take a moment to recognize the dedication and commitment of our school bus drivers. District 300 bus drivers are a vital part of our transportation system, ensuring the safe passage of our students to and from school. Their warm smiles and reassuring presence contribute to the overall well-being of our school community. Please join me in thanking our exceptional school bus drivers who tirelessly serve our district with a genuine passion for the well-being of our students. Thank you. So next up as well too, I'm going to make an announcement about the Hampshire High School musical, and I'm going to read it so I make sure I get across what I want that I feel is very important to say. So tonight I would like to provide the District 300 community with an update regarding the musical, The Prom, originally scheduled to run at Hampshire High School in April of 2024. To provide context for the community, The Prom is a musical that showcases LGBTQ+ relationships. On October 20th, the district administration announced its decision to postpone performances of The Prom due to student safety concerns. In response to the strong support we received from students and the District 300 community in support of The Prom, we are reconsidering the decision to postpone the musical, contingent upon developing and implementing a comprehensive safety plan. On Thursday, October 26th, I will meet with the Hampshire High School students to provide them with an update on the status of The Prom. I would like to clarify that our initial decision to postpone the musical was not related to Hampshire High School students or their desire to demonstrate their school's progress towards supporting the LGBTQ+ community. Instead, the postponement reflected a concern for the larger District 300 community's preparedness to fully support this performance without risking potential harassment, bullying, and violence targeting our LGBTQ plus students, performers, staff, and community members. In my initial postponement announcement, I witnessed the very best of our Hampshire high school community. I met with over 100 Hampshire high school students who spoke passionately and respectfully about their desire to perform the prom. I would like to take a moment to speak directly to these students. You have demonstrated the power of using your voice and standing up for your beliefs. You did this effectively and respectfully, and I am deeply appreciative of your words. During our discussion, you were well-informed, insightful, and articulate, and I am deeply proud of each and every one of you of being a District 300 student. Parents, you should be proud of the exemplary manner in which your children have conducted themselves. I am very proud of all of you. As a superintendent and mother to 6 children, my instinct is always to ensure the safety of our children. As my own children will attest, sometimes I can appear overprotective. I believe many parents share this trait in our community. So while if our school district firmly believes in while I and our school district firmly believes in offering inclusive opportunities that represent and support all District 300 students, I am concerned about the safety of those involved. Therefore, as I indicated, any future performance of the prom can only proceed if a comprehensive safety plan can be successfully developed and implemented. In my role, I have observed harassment, bullying, threats, violence. I've seen the worst of our community, and again, I'm really proud because I've seen the best of our community in the last several days. And I've seen it directly towards our LGBTQ plus community, which includes community members seeking to out students involved in our gay-straight alliance, hate-filled emails regarding the district's day of silence, and threats and inappropriate comments from community members related to last month's LGBTQ plus learning space meeting held at a District 300 school. I want to reiterate that the district's highest priority is student safety. My team has been meeting closely with the Hampshire High School administration, and I will do all I can to create a comprehensive plan with them that ensures the safety of our student performers and our LGBTQ plus students. And while I can assure you that District 300 will do everything in our power to support student safety, our entire community also plays a crucial role. Tonight, I am asking our larger community to partner with us in keeping our students safe at all times. Please partner with us on this critical responsibility of ensuring the safety of the children in our community and the adults in your case, because they are amazing adults. When you see or your student sees something, please say something. Please protect our students from potential forms of harassment, bullying, and violence. Should you become aware of these issues, please report them using our school Safe School tip line available on the District 300 website. When we as a district work together to create a space where all students feel a sense of belonging and are part of an inclusive and supportive environment, I am so hopeful for what our future can hold. On Friday, again, I saw firsthand that our students at Hampshire High School have created that space. You are my hope. You gave me hope. I think I told many of you on Friday, you gave me hope for our future. And I hope our community will come together to ensure that any future performance of the prom will be carried out safely and respectfully so our students can showcase what that environment looks like. So I just wanted to say thank you, students from Hampshire High School. You are an amazing bunch of students, and I am so deeply proud of you. And please know this is work that we need to do throughout District 300. And I just want to say you are leading the way. So thank you all very much.
We're on to public participation. Please note that the Open Meetings Act provides any person the opportunity to address the board under the adopted public participation policy. That being said, the board would like to advise the public that we will not consider statements read during public participation that are not authored by the reader to be credible unless the board has previously received the statement in writing from the author. Additionally, the author should indicate that he or she has granted the public participant the authority to read the statement on his or her behalf. Tonight, we have had 25 people sign up for public participation. I will call each of you up to the podium. Please state your name and relationship to the district and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please note the following. Each speaker has been provided with the guidelines for public participation. Minors need to be accompanied by their parents or guardians. The board will consider your comments, but will not dialogue or engage with speakers in this forum. Questions raised may be assigned to the superintendent for an answer. As appropriate, a member of the administration may reach out to the speaker to give them relevant information or to ask for additional information. This is done to make sure the board has all the information needed to properly address the speaker's concerns. Charges, complaints, or challenges against staff members of the district will not be heard in open meetings and should be made in writing to the board and superintendent. We also ask that speakers refrain from personally attacking district staff or members of the board. Pursuant to board policy, this evening's participants must limit their comments to 3 minutes. We ask each participant to be respectful to all individuals who have signed up to speak and adhere to the allotted time limit. We also ask that speakers conduct themselves in a civil and courteous manner and refrain from trying to engage members of the board in dialogue during public participation. Failure to abide by board time rules or those found out of order by the board may lead to exclusion from the meeting to be fair to all participants. I want to thank you in advance for your understanding and cooperation. And I want to apologize right now if I mispronounce your name. Our first speaker for 3 minutes, Frank Moreno. Close, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Good evening. It's been an interesting weekend. A lot going on.
Mr., could you just please state your name and relationship
you
to the
did say
district?
that.
Please, please.
Frank Marino. I have 2 children at Hampshire High School.
Thank you.
I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the board for the opportunity to speak here today. And I'd like to take my time to offer maybe a different perspective on what's happened, how some of us have perceived the activities that have taken place over this weekend. I took the time last week to watch the prom, and I thought it was good. I watched the movie. I thought it was good, and I think it had a lot of good messages. The difference between when I watch it and when I believe a lot of the students involved in the production is when they watch it, they're watching themselves. They see their realities. Last Friday at the meeting that my kids were at, they were told the community was not ready and that much work had to be done. Now, my point in identifying what they see in the movie is that that's their reality. Specifically those in the LGBTQ community. That is my son's reality. My son is very proud of who he is. I am very proud of who he is. And anybody that has a problem with that, I believe it's just that. It's their problem. Has it ever occurred to this board or the administration, when you told these students that the community was not ready for a production like the prom, that maybe some of those students heard the community was not ready for them? I believe that may have in fact happened. The idea of taking away this production from those kids due to potential actions of a small few is incomprehensible to me. To put it in another way, if you were to consider a bully and a weaker kid, and that bully picked on the kid and pushed him, and finally that kid had the self-esteem to push back, and the teacher said, "Stop, don't do that, you might make him mad." That's how I perceive what's happened here. There's only two things I think a student or a kid can do in that situation, and that's either stand up for yourself or run and hide. I believe these students that support this production want to stand up for themselves. They're proud of who they are, and they want to show that. I believe that canceling this production is nothing more than running and hiding.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker for 3 minutes is Henry Hansen.
Hi, I'm Henry Hansen. I'm a senior at HHS, and I'm here to talk about the musical. I feel like our reasoning to do the show has been misrepresented. In a recent email to our school, it was implied that we are doing this to display our progressiveness. I do not believe that's the case. We want to do this show because it means something to us. A lot of us theater kids are a part of the queer community, and it would be really impactful for us to put on a musical that we can relate to. We were told on Friday that we can't do the show for our safety, but this reasoning feels hollow to me. I've participated in multiple days of silence at our school, and there were no safety plans then for those events. I've yet to receive any backlash or negativity regarding my participation. I'm not sure what makes this so much more dangerous that we need to postpone the production of the musical. Furthermore, postponing the show would mean for us seniors that we would be unable to participate in the show because the postponement has been told to us multiple times that it would last for at least a year. And for us that won't be here next year, it's effectively canceled. And that's devastating to us. Even if we get a different show, it still hurts to see this one taken away from us. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes is Mandy Hansen. Mandy Hansen, 3 minutes.
Superintendent Harkin, School Board, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you tonight. My name is Mandy Hansen. I'm the parent of 2 Hampshire High School students, and I shouldn't have gone after my son. This situation has been very upsetting to us. An event this significant that was canceled with very little communication and no clear reasons, no credible threats that were shared with any of us, had us very frustrated and confused. Secondly, there is absolutely no reason why a district this large, with the resources we have and the communities that are surrounding us, cannot find a way to put this production on safely. There have been plenty of shows in the past with queer characters and actors that took place without incident. There was a same-sex couple at homecoming court in the past. They walked in front of an all-school assembly, as well as the entire football field with the crowd outside without incident. Each year, Hampshire High School has a red carpet walk for prom that anyone in the community can attend. There are many same-sex couples who walk the red carpet each year without incident. So if we are concerned about safety and well-being of students in the queer community, then we should have already had safety plans in place for all of these events. We are immensely grateful to the Hampshire High School Music Department and administration who have been fighting tirelessly with the district to try and make this show happen. Unfortunately, the extremely poor handling of this event by the district has sent the message to our students that they weren't worth putting the effort in for. Many of us as parents could not let that be the message our students learned from this. We wanted them to know that they are absolutely worth speaking up for and fighting for. I am beyond proud of how they have all stood up for themselves, their friends, and their classmates in the face of the people who they feel like should have been fighting for them from the beginning, and not just when the issue got some social media attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes is Kathy Hock. Kathy Hock, 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Kathy Hawk. I came here from Belvedere after seeing about this on the Illinois Mama Bears Facebook last night. This just pulled at my heart. I have a gay son who's 30 and was always in the theater, and he's an amazing, amazing person today. And that was his passion. And to take this away from these kids and pull it out after so much has already been put into it, their hopes are up. They know they can do this. As far as protesters, I mean, we're always going to have people who aren't happy. You know, that's okay to have people who have differences. If we have haters, we need to pull the haters out. We need to make sure a plan's in place for the safety of the kids. We have till spring, you know, that these kids can work hard and the school can get safety measures in place if they really feel it is needed. I'll volunteer. I'll be here every night to do whatever I can. These kids, I don't think it's going to be negative attention, as I saw on Facebook, against the kids. I mean, they're going to have family, friends in the audience supporting them. As a community and as the admin and the board, I would think you would be so proud to be able to put on this show and show future people coming into our community or to your community that this is a safe place for our students. We love our students. We protect our students. We don't, discriminate. This is a safe, accepting district. I just feel this is so wrong to take this away from these kids. They deserve this, and they can do it. This is who they are. They deserve to be, people know who they are, just like any of us. You know, it's just wrong in my eyes.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Melissa, is it McMahon? I got it right.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Melissa McMahon. I am the founding member of Woodstock Pride. I also serve as its vice president, and I'm also the coordinator of Woodstock Pride Fest, which is a 2-day LGBT celebration in the city of Woodstock. I also serve as a city council member in the city of Woodstock. I was invited here by a Hampshire parent to offer my expertise as an LGBT advocate and event planner. I have had firsthand experience in the hate that you are afraid of, and that is usually in the form of keyboard cowboys. There is a lot of talk behind a keyboard, little action. While I'm very aware of the possibilities of dissenters and have faced a few on occasion, the threat of hate is never stronger than the need to have the show go on. For a school district that actually has its own DEI district, I can only hope for that in Woodstock someday, not allowing this production simply out of fear may not happen. should not happen. On your website, you state your own equality policy. You are committed to every student's academic, social, and personal success, growth, and development. As educators, you know that your job does not stop at academics. Educators and administrators are trusted to teach, nurture, protect, and so much more for our children. Correspondence has cited that the concern for the kids involved may be bullied, harassed, and threatened. As members of the LGBT community, these are real everyday possibilities that happen in schools, grocery stores, parks, walking along the street. This can be a teaching experience for the social emotional development of your students. This is your opportunity to walk the walk and live the words in your policy. Your policy states the Board of Education will hold the superintendent, all school and central office administration leadership, and all remaining district staff accountable for their roles and contributions towards measurable progress in ensuring these mandates. One of those mandates being student voice, climate, and culture. As mentioned earlier in an email, the superintendent notes there has been a rise in harassment, bullying threats locally and nationally. Sadly, this is true, but standing strong in that adversity is what needs to be done. If you waver, the haters win, and that is unacceptable. I urge you to reach out and include local resources in your action plan. Local law enforcement, community leaders, volunteer groups like Woodstock Pride, Parasol Patrol, and the mom who here come in every night. The loving and affirming adults in this room are here to help. I will send you my personal contact information and lend you my 6+ years of planning and implementing LGBT-centric events for upwards of 8,000 people at a time to make this happen and give these kids their prom.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Paul Pataki. Close.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay? Thank you very much. And my compliments to you. You're one of the few people that got my name right. So, I am a father of a daughter who attends Hampshire High School. She is a theater kid and has had wonderful experiences in all of the theater productions that she's done to date through Dundee Middle School. Fortunately, she was one of those that started during COVID, so didn't get the experience during 6th grade, but made up for it in 7th and 8th. And her expectations for doing this thing at the high school level were set so high after watching the production they did in the spring. So now we are, fall of 2023, deciding on the expectations and this musical for 2024. Thoroughly thrilled that they are picking something that, from what I'm understanding, hasn't been done before. It's a Tony Award winning musical that has an absolutely wonderful message behind it. And something that not just our community, but the nation needs to embrace. Having been an implementer of change in a much, much different capacity, I understand people, some embrace it, some don't. And some that don't, well, here's the message that you as the board for this district need to send to them. Change is inevitable, like it or not. And that's on you. I will tell you this much, when I moved here 20 years ago, this was not something I had ever expected to understand in my community. It's embarrassing, and on many levels, it's very disheartening. What's also very embarrassing and disheartening for me personally is the story that this is about is one more example of a story that took place in my home state of Indiana. It's up to you to make sure that you stand up for what you believe is right. I think you know the answer to that, and I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Julia Johnson. Mom, right? Okay, gotcha, okay. Okay.
Hi, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak. I'm Julia Johnson. I'm a senior at Hampshire High School. This is my mom because I'm only 17. So one of your main points of speaking points is that you've seen the data that we haven't. The district gets the stats of the bullying and harassment, and we haven't seen that, so we don't know the extent of it. And that this is a reason why we should postpone the show and why it would be unsafe. I think that it is quite the opposite. I think that is even more reason that we should be taking steps like this. And it was stated in our meeting on Friday that there's a lot of negativity around this, specifically in the middle school communities. And I think that from the perspective of a middle schooler that could be going through that kind of harassment, being able to look up at their future high school, putting on this kind of production, and being able to think, like, wow, maybe it won't always be like this. Maybe one day it'll all be okay. And I think that would make it all so worth it. And not even just the middle schoolers, everyone in the community, just showing them that they are loved and accepted and they have a home. Even if it's not at their house, they have a home somewhere, and it is in the Hampshire community with all of us supporting them. Change doesn't just happen. I think it is created. No significant progress has ever been made in history by waiting for the time to be right. Someone somewhere has to be willing to take the first step and make something happen and try something and set a precedent for others. Hampshire High School would be the first school in Illinois to put on this production, and I think that it would be an absolutely incredible opportunity for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Mike Reed.
Good evening, board members, district staff, and fellow community members. Thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening and for what you do for to serve
Mike,
our students
Mike,
in our community.
Can you just state your name? And
My name is Mike Reed. I am a Hampshire High School graduate, former District 300 employee, father of a Hampshire elementary school student, and village president of the Village of Hampshire, Illinois.
Thank you.
Home to over 8,200 residents as of today, according to CMAP, and 5 District 300 schools. I would also like to recognize Village President Zambetti and Village President Kubiak from the Village of Gilberts and the Village of Pingree Grove for joining us in the audience tonight. I usually would not come to speak in open session to a board. I've been on the other side of this. However, based on recent events, I felt that there was no other option. I need to address the perception that the Hampshire community was blamed, whether it be intentional or not, as a reason for a recent decision to cancel a musical at Hampshire High School. I want to be clear. It is not my intent to wag my finger or weigh in to any decision within your purview. I have always appreciated our positive relationship with District 300. However, it is hard for me as village president, resident, and most importantly, a father, to comprehend the above statement or perception about Hampshire. I have been a part of the District 300 and Hampshire communities for about 22 years. I love them both for very similar reasons. They are both welcoming, kind, understanding, and unique. I have been involved with village government for the last 10 years, and in that time we have made great strides to change how we do things, much as like the district has done recently. The same old is not good enough, and we realize there's still more work to be done. I have to say, it is hard for the Hampshire community to understand why or how we ended up with a target pointing at us based on a decision we had no communication about. And I'll be honest, the perceived characterization of Hampshire, the Hampshire community and our over 8,200 residents directly correlated from the comments by district staff is wrong, hurtful, not inclusive, and is 100% not in the spirit of working together. Our Hampshire community is much like the D300 community and is made up of all kinds. Each individual is unique in their own way and brings something special to our communities that we would otherwise not have if they had chosen to live elsewhere. Hampshire is also changing by the day. In fact, we have approved more building permits in the past year than in the last several years combined, which means our community will continue to change. This should not be a new revelation to anyone. All residential growth that you see in our community was approved in the early 2000s, meaning our path toward change was set in motion many years ago. I invite anyone with questions who would like to see what makes Hampshire so unique or visit to visit and or participate in some of our community events outside of the school setting.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Tammy Hamrick.
Hi. Thank you to the D300 board and Dr. Harkin. I am Tammy Hamrick. I am a District 300 employee. I'm a 29-year veteran teacher, and I have spent all of these years at Hampshire Middle School. I love Hampshire. I've watched it grow and change tremendously during my 29 years there. And I'm here tonight with a statement about the controversy surrounding the Hampshire High School Drama Department's selection of the prom. I feel compelled to share a statement because students close to my heart, students that will always be my kids, feel strongly about putting this play on. Let me start by saying I understand the reasons the administration is hesitant and believe their concerns are student-centered. However, the reasons for the hesitancy are the very reasons this play is important. It would not take much digging around to find statistics that show that our LGBTQ plus populations in schools are among the most targeted. This will not change until we create a culture of inclusion and acceptance, and that will not happen without exposure and representation. Every time we push LGBTQ plus issues out of sight, regardless of the motivation, we send a message that it's wrong and bad, and we unwillingly confirm the beliefs of bigots. I believe that some of the rise in bullying of this population is because people feel empowered today because of decisions like these. I recognize this might be a fight of sorts, but students in this marginalized community fight their battles not of their choosing every single day. Their safety is often compromised just by being identified as different. If we want that to change, we need to embrace opportunities of inclusion, opportunities of representation, and opportunities to normalize this marginalized population. These students want to help with that. I think that ultimately steps like these is what creates safety for the LGBTQ plus communities. I recognize it's a process and one that comes with risks. I would argue there are risks in not doing the play, in the message that it sends to the LGBTQ plus community, in the empowerment of those that struggle with inclusion, and in the depiction of the Hampshire community. I applaud the students for picking this play and fighting for it. I applaud them for recognizing the importance of its message, of representation, and the power of art as a vehicle for change. I thank our LGBTQ plus populations for all their support through the years on productions that don't represent them. Oop, I just lost my spot. Ooh. I look forward to being able to support ones that represent them for a change. We are all part of the same community. I thank the administration for reconsidering their initial decision, and I look forward to seeing my former students in the prom this spring.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes is Aaron Kelly.
Members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Aaron Kelly. and I'm a resident of the Village of Hampshire. I'm here tonight as a father, as a member of the Hampshire community, as a patron of the arts, as an ally, and as the Village of Hampshire trustee. Like many here and watching online, I became aware of the administration's decision regarding the Hampshire High School production of the prom from social media posts and for the reasoning of that decision. Over the past couple of days, there have been rebuttals as to what was said, posted by the administration, as well as articles written that included comments and evidence provided by those that were in the meeting. According to one article, a student shared that the administration insisted that it wasn't the content of the musical they were concerned about, but went on to say that the nature of the performance is the reason the community of Hampshire isn't ready to receive a performance like the prom. The administration described the opposition as vicious and that Hampshire has a lot of work to do. But the pair avoided answering questions, or administration avoided answering questions from the students, such as, what does the administration think should be done? To walk this back, the rebuttal from the administration stated that the D300 community may not be prepared to fully support this performance without risking potential harassment, bullying, and violence targeting our LGBTQ plus students, performers, staff, and community members. So now if I'm reading that right, it's not just the Hampshire isn't ready to receive the performance of the prom, it's the entire D300 community. Probably not the best way to walk that one back. To make the statements that were made about the community of Hampshire and now the entire D300 community is shameful, and in my opinion is borderline defamation. I'm a member of the community, so are you saying I pose a threat? Or just others? And if so, whom are the others that pose threats? You made generalizations of a community that couldn't be further from the truth. You didn't reach out to the village police department, staff, or elected officials. You made zero attempts to partner so that students could put on this musical. Rather than finding a way to help students and staff make this happen, you used fear as a tactic to justify your actions. You used your authority to have students think that they would be in danger if they were allowed to put on this play. You used your authority to tell them that their communities do not accept those whom are represented in this musical, and potentially those students who themselves are a part of the LGBTQ plus community. You told them the community doesn't think they belong, that you couldn't provide safety that would be needed should they continue this production. I'm here to say that you couldn't be more wrong, that your perception of our communities and your approach to this situation is the problem, and that the communities are here for our children, that we support them, that we love them, all of them. I ask the board that you hold your staff accountable for their actions, that you partner with your local communities, and that you support your school staff
Thank you.
and the students.
Our next speaker for 3 minutes is Alyssa Lindmark.
Good evening. My name is Elisa Lindmark, and I have 2 students in the Hampshire schools. I wasn't sure I was going to come and speak tonight, but something in that statement just didn't sit well with me. Why are we just now talking about comprehensive safety plans? The time to start discussing those was at the very least a year ago, when our LGBTQI plus students were outed by a parent. But I would argue that we have needed them for all of our marginalized students for far longer than that. Where is the comprehensive safety plan for our special education students? 8 years in this district, and my son has been harassed in the restrooms on 3 different occasions. And that's just the restrooms. The only reason that number isn't higher is because after the second incident, I had it written into his IEP that he goes to the nurse's office. That was for the next 5 years. It was clear to me that this district could not ensure his safety in the students' bathrooms. This year, we decided to try the student restrooms again. They are right next to his self-contained classroom, and as opposed to him having to walk across the school to use the one in the nurse's office. A little over a month into the school year, and here comes the email from his teacher that he had another incident of harassment in the bathroom. Are you kidding me? Why was my special education student who has the cognitive abilities of a 7 or 8-year-old in the bathroom with up to a dozen mainstream students? I'll tell you why. We have no comprehensive safety plans in this district. You know about all these threats to our community, our teachers, our students, yourselves. Yet you waited until you got pushed back on a canceled musical to start discussing comprehensive safety plans? Please, make it make sense. I have come here to speak in support of this district in the past, but after these recent events, I'm really starting to question what and who I am supporting here. Why do we continue to be reactive instead of proactive? What is it going to take for these threats to be taken seriously? Does the harassment against my son have to cause physical harm instead of just emotional harm? Do we have to lose one of our students? I'm looking forward to the opportunity to serve on the Parent Advisory Council and to continue this conversation tomorrow night. I'll see you then.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Henry Fixemer.
Hello, my name is Henry Fixmer. I'm a D300 parent, taxpayer, member of the Parent Advisory Council, and also part of the LGBTQ+ community. I'm sad that the drama club at Hampshire has encountered resistance to putting on this musical, The Prom. More, I'm angry that it even has to be a discussion. I'm angry that the constant hatred toward LGBTQ+ students and families has made it necessary. And yet the sources of this hate say they don't hate anyone, they just have deeply held beliefs. They need to relook at those beliefs. I had to make significant changes, I will say that, because of listening to a lot of people. But basically, we did have to move in the middle of last school year because we did have some safety concerns that came from within the Hampshire community. The good news is that I am aware that there are a lot of great people in Hampshire. It just was an unfortunate situation, and I had some holdover anger from that. So I actually removed a lot of what I was going to say because I appreciate all of what y'all had said. But the students and the staff in this drama club have made a bold move to choose the prom. While I initially agreed with the administration, a lot of what I've heard here has changed my mind. On a slightly lighter note, from another angle, I've seen some people try to object to the prom by saying it's highly sexualized. Please, teens are not babies. They know what sex is. They see more sexualized content on YouTube each day. Come on. B, if it were simply about romance being sexualized, would the same people object to the high school productions for decades of Oklahoma, Hello Dolly, Grease, Romeo and Juliet? Come on. I mean, how many kids had their first kiss in a drama club on the stage? I'm angry that vitriolic, volatile minority made it necessary to even have this conversation. The hate, and yes, it is hate, is amoral and cruel. It needs to stop. So I invite these people who have shown such vitriol to take a breather, take a moment or three and get educated, get to know people who aren't like you, learn to see past the lies that you've been told. See all of these kids with their clear lens of welcome. You won't be sorry. And you kids, for all of you there, you are awesome and do not give up.
Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Marissa Begun. Did I get it right or wrong? Begun, okay. Sorry.
Hi, my name is Marissa Begun, and I am a parent of a senior and a freshman at Hampshire High School. I also work at Hampshire Middle School through NIA as an occupational therapist, so I am in the schools as well. I, like the gentleman who spoke before me, keep rewriting and changing what I'm saying because of all of the vocal parents, and what they've said is heartfelt and touching, and I really appreciate everybody who's spoken before me. You stated that you had the safety of students in mind and were afraid of a vocal minority. I think you can see that we are now a vocal majority. We are here to tell you that we are accepting, we are allies, and we are willing to stand to support their vision of a musical and the school culture. I encourage you to continue to hear their stories as they have shared with you, because there are stories of positivity and change. We reached out and heard from other districts who have done the prom, and they stated that they had front page articles in the Indianapolis Star, and when they did their production, there were no safety concerns, none at all. So I do hope for Hampshire's a safe and eventful production of the prom. One thing that has not been mentioned is that the musical is not a mandated event. By delaying and making a deal out of the choice of the musicals, you did awake a vocal majority of parents ready to defend. Your decision, while said to be in the spirit of safety for the schools, I applaud you for that. We all want the safety for our students. The principal and allied teachers at Hampshire High School are constantly looking out for the students' safety. This musical would bring awareness to acceptance. People who do not want to hear that message do not need to participate or attend. We're not trying to change people's minds. We're just trying to show our children and their teachers that we see them and acknowledge who they are and what they stand for. Thank you.
Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Karen Hersey.
Good evening. My name is Karen Hersey, and I'm here to voice my support for the Hampshire High School production of the prom. I have children who are part of the LGBTQ+ community. I'm also passionate about theater. Myself and my children have been heavily involved in performing arts in a neighboring district. The prom was already voted on by the students, approved, and the rights were purchased. For the kids at HHS, the show must go on. The vocal minority cannot win this issue and silence the children. Canceling the prom is allowing homophobia and bigotry to call the shots, and that is not a lesson these children should be learning. The fact that the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and the Superintendent made this decision is disturbing, to say the least. If there was a threat to the student body, then that should be brought to the Hampshire Police Department, and District 300 should investigate. However, the show must go on. Letting a few loud people change the course of these kids' lives seems like the exact opposite of what diversity, equity, and inclusion should be standing for. After a Change.org petition with over 3,200 signatures earlier today, and an article in BroadwayWorld.com, now it was decided that a safety plan can be adopted and the show may be allowed. The students were never told that the prom was not postponed, but rather that it could not be performed this year. The irony that the musical is about a girl who isn't allowed to bring her girlfriend to the prom due to a closed-minded group should not be lost on any of us. The prom should be staged this year as planned. If you don't stand up to hate, then hate wins, which is a terrible message to send to these students' family in town. The theater programs in high school is a place where a lot of marginalized students come to feel included and equal. Hampshire has put on Romeo and Juliet, which has suicide and predatory relationships, Beauty and the Beast, glorifying abusive relationships, as well as Les Mis, which has prostitution and suicide, with no issues. Furthermore, theater is a place to examine the issues that matter the most, and these students have decided that this is the story that they want to tell. We have no right to take that away from them. The school administration, superintendent, and director of DEI should have proactively created a safety plan in place to make sure the performers, orchestra, and staff, students, and attendees are safe. In fact, there should always be a safety plan in place to make sure that all students, staff, families, and community are safe. And I can't wait to support the students when the prom is performed at HHS this spring. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Dave McGuire.
Sorry, I'm short. I'm Dave McGuire. My daughter is a freshman at Hampshire High School. You can recognize her on the football field. She'll be playing a clarinet. I can't say much more than everyone else has already said, except for that last speaker missed out that Phantom of the Opera also has kidnapping and rape. So I'd like to talk about the zero tolerance policy for bullying. Every year I fill out my daughter's registration form, and there it is, zero tolerance for bullying. So what I don't understand about this decision, and I agree also that it wasn't postponed at first, it was, 2025, I believe, was the postponement that I first heard of. Anyways, I'd like to talk about the zero tolerance policy for bullying, and I've been a victim of bullying in my life. I've been upside down in garbage cans, behind closed doors in lockers, and I love a zero tolerance for bullying. What I don't understand is how you correlate a zero tolerance for bullying policy with giving in to the bullies. You're right, and you guys are doing a great job with this district, and you are right. There is a sick, sad world out there. It is sick, and it gets sicker every day. And it gets sicker every day because every day the good people step back and let the bullies win. So how do you correlate not doing a show because you're afraid of them with having a zero tolerance for bullying plan? I don't understand. So let them do their play, and don't let the bullies win. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Lydia Burns.
Hi, my name is Lydia Burns. I am a, wrong notes. I live here in Algonquin, and I am a queer alum of Jacobs High School. I am here on behalf of the LGBTQ students enrolled currently in D300 to ask for the board's support in the Hampshire High School Spring Play. Spring Play the Prom. I understand the safety risks involved, but LGBT students deserve to have their stories told. It is proven time and time again by studies that LGBT youths have a higher risk of suicide, mental health issues, and are more prone to drug and alcohol use if they do not have a safe and supportive environment. In a 2019 study by the LGBT Health called Influences of Families on LGBT Youth Health, family and community rejection is strongly associated with mental health problems. The Trevor Project did a survey in 2022 that included 34,000 LGBT youths from ages 13 to 24 across the United States. 45% of them seriously considered suicide. 1 in 5 trans and non-binary children attempted suicide. These numbers are greatly increased with LGBT youths of color and other minorities. However, there are LGBT youth who have found their school and home life affirming report lower rates of attempted suicide. As I said previously, I understand there's a safety risk. However, these children and these students also understand that safety risk. They face these unsafe behaviors day in and day out just by living their lives. They deserve, like any other student, to have their voices heard and their stories told. For the rest of my time, I would just like to state to any students here and LGBT students across the board that their voices matter and that they are so loved and supported by members of the community. I really urge members of the board to move on with the Spring Play, the Prom. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Heather Fodor.
Good evening. Yay, microphone worked. Okay, my name is Heather Fodor, and I am here for multiple reasons. One, I am a D300 community member, long time, heavily invested in this district, parent of 2 children, one of whom has graduated through HES, HMS, HHS, one who is a senior at Hampshire High School right now. I am also a teacher. I am an ally. And I am also here as a village board member representing the village of Hampshire. And I come to you with a question. How can we help? That's it. How can we help? We know that you are concerned about our kids. We know that you love them. We know that you accept them and that you want to protect them. We do too. Please give us in Hampshire the opportunity to do that and work with you as a partner so that all of our kids know how much they are loved and valued. And also, I need tickets, so let's get this done.
This is going to be a challenge, and I'm going to apologize right now for probably mispronouncing your name. I apologize to you. Catherine Grimonprix? Did I get it close? All right.
Well, good evening. My name is Catherine Grimonprix. My 2 sons are graduates of Jacobs and Hampshire High School. I'm going to shift gears here a little bit. I'm a grandmother, so I'm not up on everything that's going on these days in the schools. My sons are grown and have given me wonderful children. But I'm here to ask you if you would consider beginning your public school board meetings with a moment of prayer. Last year, the Supreme Court issued a decision in favor of Coach Joe Kennedy in the Kennedy versus Bremerton School District case, in which Coach Kennedy had been fired for privately praying on the 50-yard line. The Supreme Court upheld his right to take a knee. I know I brought these for a reason. A knee in quiet, solitary prayer after games. This has had a nationwide impact on public schools on many levels, now free to live out our faith in public. This win also overturned a 50-year-old precedent, Lemon versus Kurtzman, that had caused many school officials for decades to suppress any religious observances. Because of the Kennedy victory, that is no longer acceptable. The court set a major precedent affirming that the government cannot censor private religious expression. In the Illinois compiled statutes, there is 105-20-Section 1, Silent Reflection and Student Prayer Act. And it reads, in each public school classroom, the teacher in charge shall observe a brief period of silence with the participation of all the pupils therein assembled at the opening of every school day. This period shall not be conducted as a religious exercise, but shall be an opportunity for silent prayer or for silent reflection on the anticipated activities of the day. So again, I'm here to ask if you would stand with these freedoms for a moment of silent prayer or reflection at the beginning of each of these public school board meetings. And I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Bridget Tully.
Good evening. I'm Bridget Tully. I am a parent in District 300, although my son is only in preschool at the moment. That said, we have no plans to leave Hampshire, and my son and my daughter will hopefully be attending Hampshire High School someday. So this is very saddening to me that we are even having this discussion still. At the last minute, I was looking for an Allies shirt something that I didn't think that I would ever need, honestly. I thought we were past this point. Anyways, all places should be safe places for our children. No matter our beliefs, every single parent wants their kid to be loved, accepted, and safe. So here is my question. If threats of violence are being made against our students and schools, why are those threats not being dealt with by law enforcement the same way that other threats of violence would? Quoting directly from the update sent yesterday, we have received numerous hate-filled emails regarding the district's Day of Silence. Last month, the district received threats and inappropriate comments from community members related to our LGBTQ+ learning space meeting held at District 300 School. So again, I ask, why are these threats going without repercussions? The only ones paying for these offenses are the individuals, family members, and allies of the LGBTQ+ community. The individuals behind these threats should be publicly named and made to stand behind their hurtful rhetoric and ignorant beliefs. I assume they would be happy to do so, and do so with pride. And if they aren't comfortable publicly defending themselves, then perhaps some serious self-reflection is in order. If we cannot proudly support and stand in defense of our values, then they are not truly our values or principles. I am devastated for every student who has been made to feel less than or unworthy by the bigots in our community, and I sincerely hope that this is not a conversation happening by the time my children are at the pinnacle of establishing their identities and understanding their inherent value. The LGBTQ+ community exists. It always has, and it always will. No amount of ignorance or hate or censorship will change that reality. It will only serve to divide our society. I'm sad for the adults who have had a lifetime of opportunities to re-educate themselves, to learn and be better humans. I'm even sadder for those in the current generation who are being raised in these homes, and I hope they can find the courage in themselves to break away from the hateful mold placed around them in order to grow and learn and fully believe that every person is worthy of respect. To our local LGBTQ+ community, I'm sorry. I'm with you, I see you, I support you. Please know there are so many others who feel the same. I will personally be taking action and joining any groups available to better support the community and create a safer and more loving future for all of our children. And I hope there are many people in this room tonight who will do the same. To the board, I seriously hope you reconsider the postponement of this musical. Please do not give in to the fear tactics of the bigoted and hateful minority.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Jim Cooper. Jim Cooper, C-O-O-P-E-R. Okay. Sienna Hughes.
My name is Sienna Hughes, and I am a sophomore at Hampshire High School. And just gonna openly apologize now, I'm terrible at reading aloud, so I'm gonna stutter a lot. I am part of the LGBTQ community, and being openly out for around 2.5 years, backlash has never been a problem for me. Have I been called names? Yes. Have people looked at me weird? Who hasn't? But even with the few times I've gotten a rude comment or something relevant like that, it's never been so bad that I felt like I had to change who I was. It's never physical, and for that reason I know that the opinions of that specific group of people can't do anything to stop something as big as this musical production. The other day I was talking with 2 of my classmates about the whole scenario, and I said, so Hampshire wants to do The Prom, which is an LGBTQ-centered musical, and was immediately cut off by one of them saying, yeah, that's not gonna slide. And I looked at him and I said, well, that's what we were told, because some people think we'd get harassed or attacked because of it. And this is where the way Hampshire is seen is ridiculous, because the way the other one of them responded made my jaw almost drop. She said, you will. This school is all, in part of my language, this was her words, not mine, she said, this school is all rednecks. I was shocked, and I walked away before either of the 2 could say anything more. I found it almost a bit disrespectful that they immediately assumed that HHS is an outraging, angry, and such a homophobic place that a musical of all things wouldn't be approved. I try to distance myself from those two now, if you were wondering. I've been told over and over again by numbers of people that Hampshire is a queer-hating, redneck-filled place. But I'll continue to stand and raise my voice about the actions of Hampshire High. My family has been thriving through this school since 2017, and I've heard nothing about LGBTQ discrimination. I know our school, and more importantly, I trust our school. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Taven Grigsby.
Hi, my name is Taven Grigsby, and I'm a senior at Hampshire High School, a member of our theater program, as well as a member of the LGBTQ+ community. I want to take a moment to reflect on not only what this show means for now, but what it could mean for the future. If we cancel things because we're worried people will get upset, that could evolve very quickly into something dangerous. Think book burnings, or silencing people, or Florida. Like, putting on a musical so that people can feel represented is extremely important because we don't get other chances like this. I've played roles in the past that hint that they were gay, that hint that people writing them wanted to say something more but couldn't because rules at the time that those shows were written prohibited them. I don't want to live in a world like that. I want to live in a world that lets us tell the stories that need to be told. Because when art is censored, we lose sight of reality. Institutions don't represent all people, we know that. But art is a way for people to represent themselves. And if we're not allowed to do that, especially going forward in 2023, we're not where we should be. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Lee Bennett.
Hello, my name is Lee Bennett. Last month, while reffing a 7th grade volleyball match, I met some students and staff at Algonquin Middle School. The AMS coaches prepared the girls well for the match. Before, during, and after the match, some boys showed obvious interest in the sport. These boys will not get to play volleyball for their schools this spring, nor even in high school. Volleyball is popular enough here for 2 7th grade girls teams. Why isn't one available for the boys? Girls are allowed to participate in all of the sports offered, including wrestling, but volleyball is not offered for the boys? Once upon a time, it may have seemed reasonable to offer wrestling for the boys and volleyball for the girls. Because of decades-long growth of boys volleyball and girls wrestling, this is no longer appropriate. District 300's athletic offerings seem tilted towards the girls. Your middle school athletics includes both a cheer and dance team, which likely attracts mostly female participants. Why is volleyball important? Let me give you 3 reasons. Lifelong, teaches teamwork, and a social sport. A local club director encourages parents to get their middle schoolers involved in volleyball as it is a healthy physical activity they are likely to enjoy into adulthood. Old men like me still play in our 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and even at the age of 90. Some girls, and hopefully boys, learning the game today will be on the court at their century mark. Moving on to teaching teamwork. With the occasional exceptions, such as Mike Collins' give the ball to Michael strategy, coaches of all sports preach the value of teamwork. Volleyball teaches teamwork naturally. The volleyball court is large enough to require a team effort and small enough to foster communication. The timing of the sport allows for brief huddles between points and urgent coordination during play. Players need to rely on their teammates to guard the floor and set them up in order to succeed. I believe that volleyball is the best social sport. In the case of this introvert, volleyball was my main social activity for many years. The sport works well for men or women and is a popular co-ed activity. This fact allowed me to become a parent. The shared social joy in volleyball could be seen after a long rally when both teams celebrate a temporary victory over gravity, the common adversary. The more cooperative focus of the sport is part of the appeal to girls, and the lessons of teamwork is something our boys need as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Again, I'm going to apologize for mispronouncing your name. Stephanie Perezansky? Perfect. Thank you.
My name is Stephanie, and I'm a parent in District 300. And I just want to start by saying I am hopefully the students get their playback. What was done was really uncalled for. Some of the information that was sent out in the email cited the day of silence as in emails received in regards to the day of silence, right? But if I'm not mistaken, the day of silence is in April, earlier in the year. So if the district had this data since, I'm wondering why the play was approved if there was really a threat. Like, who in the administration let that play even come to fruition for these kids to practice and invest their time into, right? So by this logic, if there's threat all the time, which there is to schools, aside from the LGBTQ plus community, there is threats to schools in general. And by this logic, we would shut the schools down. Kids wouldn't even go to schools, right? But I'm wondering if there was a viable threat. Did law enforcement actually, and I know you're not gonna answer this right now, but I'm just throwing it out there. Was there a viable threat? Was law enforcement made aware of a specific threat made by a specific individual? Was the possibility of this occurring, threats and pushback from the community, was this not discussed prior to the approval of this play moving forward? So I think the message is a little skewed here. As a member of this community of District 300, that sends a message to us that you view all of us as a threat, including our kids, because our kids are part of District 300. And I'm just here to tell you that is not the case. Instead of sending a message of fear and sowing division within our community, you should be sending a message of unity. And I am here to tell you that I'm in support of it. All these kids chose to participate in it by their own free will. They were not forced to. So again, I really hope they get their playback. Thank you.
Our next speaker for 3 minutes, Alex Fayer.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Alex Fayer. I am a step-parent of 2 kids at HHS. And I had a few off-the-cuff comments I was going to make after this short little comment, but so many of the important and profound things have been so eloquently said already. So I'd like to first say, just bear in mind everything that's been said. It was so beautifully said. Second, I just wanted to come and show my support for our students and staff at Hampshire High School, to let them know that they are seen. The fact that we are even having this conversation baffles me, because if safety is a concern due to a small group of dissenters, we can't give in. We need to push for a plan that allows this to happen. We need to find ways to bolster safety, to use the community around us to help these students. Let the students support one another. This is the time to stand up for both human rights and what is right and wrong, to show the community that we are all people and learn the difference between equality and equity. And for those not familiar, equality is everybody is given the same opportunities. Equity is making sure that people who cannot take advantage of all those same opportunities have the tools they need to do so. Just a couple of off-the-cuff comments now. As an actor in the community, musicals aren't just fun. They're not just frivolity. They are an important storytelling tradition, and storytelling has a proud and important history of A, moving social issues forward, B, reflecting life back at us in a way that helps us to learn and to see ourselves and our world around us in a different light and show us what can be, what should be. And I believe it was G.K. Chesterton said in a similar vein, fairy tales aren't important because they tell us there's dragons. They are important because they show us they can be defeated. We need to not give in to the people who are pushing back on this. We need to stand up to the bullies and show them that they cannot win. And it would be sorely disappointing with the time we have left if a safety plan couldn't be concocted within the time and this could not move forward. And I just wanted to say thank you to everybody showing support for these students and what they want to do, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. I just want to thank each of you speakers, and I want to thank the audience. I've been doing this for several years. I was an employee here in this district for several years. I have been to large board meetings. I have been to board meetings where it has been less than desirable, I will say. I truly, truly appreciate how you presented your position, your statements, and it goes a long way. It truly does. And I personally want to say thank you to all of you. I truly do. Board members, any comments at this time? I'm going to divert a little bit to see if board members have any comments.
I just want to add to that and just say I'm proud of the community. You know, this was a decision that the administration made, and we've had a rally here. We've had strong voices both through email, phone calls, and now tonight in public participation. And I also want to thank you. I too have heard you. I appreciate your voice, and I am hopeful that things will work out the way they're supposed to work out. So thank you.
I'm going to start, if it's okay with the board, I'm going to start with Nancy, and then
Sure.
we'll just move this. Is that okay with you guys? Okay. Ms. Zettler?
Sure. Thank you for everybody for coming tonight, and thank you for all the emails we've received, and especially thank you to Henry, Julia, Sienna, and Tavin for coming here specifically to speak, and thank you to the 110 kids who showed up at the meeting on Friday. 3 years ago, if you would have told me that this was going to happen this way, I would have said you're crazy. Okay? And I'm going to tell you right up front that I think you're right, we failed you. But I want to tell you why I think that, number one, we did, and number two, why this ended up, this is going to be one of the best things that has ever happened in this district, okay? Back in 2021, the board came together and put out a statement. It was surrounded about, it involved Black Lives Matter flags that were being flown at Jacobs, and there was a kerfuffle about that. And we took that opportunity to say, listen, we believe that our kids are valuable, all of our kids are valuable, all of our kids' feelings are valuable. Everybody should be welcomed, safe, respected, and made to know that they are valued. And we believe that, we still do. Now, only 4 of us that are here are ones who actually actually signed off on that, but I can tell you right now, all 7 of us here still believe that. And all 7 of us, I think Susan suggested we should have this new board renew our commitment behind that statement, okay? But this district, and Dr. Harkin in particular, has gone through a lot in the past few years. And we have spent a lot of time doing things to try to make sure our kids are safe. And it started with COVID. It started with everything that went on around COVID. It started with coming back from COVID and all the stuff we went through with the masks and all that other stuff. And now kids are, we're trying to help the kids get through what they went through. We're trying to get everybody back to where we should be, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not using that as an excuse. My point is that when you sit up here in this dais and you sit in the position that Dr. Harkin is in and that Dr. Smith will be in soon, it's a heavy hand to have to decide things that might put your students in some kind of danger, okay? We have had several threats over the years, and they've happened recently too. Now, are there specific threats that say I'm gonna, like what happened to us a couple of months ago at Crown, right, with the swatting? No, they're not specific like that, but they're people who voice their dissent to this. After we did that declaration, we started the DEI program in the district. And we have had several instances where, specifically with LGBTQ, the community, where things have been made very clear to us that there were people out here that were not happy that we were supporting the community. Our very first meeting of the LGBTQ parent support group was horrible. I mean, we had so many great people that showed up that wanted to get involved and stuff like that, and we also had people who came in and inserted themselves around the room and then decided to try to tear the whole thing down. Did we stop? No, we did not stop, okay? Did we say that you can't come just because you don't, you're not an ally? No, we started a separate group to educate people who needed to be educated on what's going on with the community, how we help our kids, how we support our kids, et cetera, okay? But my point is those people are still out there. And we are still getting, not, like I said, not specific, I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna blow up your school, but we don't like what you're doing. Okay, we had stakeholder meetings a couple of weeks ago. We had stakeholders in those meetings that are members of the community and leaders in the community that are pushing back on the LGBT community here. So when I say that we failed you, we did, because to be completely honest with you, one of the happiest days of my life was when Susan told me 110 of you came to the meeting to support each other and to support the community and to tell everybody we are not afraid, okay? Because 3 years ago, I couldn't have ever imagined that we'd be able to do that in this community. And I'm talking about the entire district, not just in Hampshire. So when Susan made the decision that she made, okay, she made it out of love. She made it out of concern. Was it the wrong decision? Now we know that, because now we know you are ready. Now we know that the community is ready. And now it is my hope, and I believe this wholeheartedly, we are going to be able to put together the safety plan that's going to be necessary to make sure that this play can go on in April. And I know I personally will do everything, but we need to have, like Susan said, we need to have the commitment from you guys to stand behind us on this, if you talk to your kids, tell your kids what's happening in the schools. We still have kids bullied on the LGBTQ kids bullied almost every day in this district, and it's a shame that it is happening, but it does. But if we all gang together and we all start taking it seriously, which I know you guys do, then we can really push this over the finish line, because you guys are here. You guys are out here, and you guys are proud, and you're committed to, to supporting each other, and we are too. I know it doesn't seem like it right now because of what happened, but we are here, and we are here to support, and we will do everything we can to make sure that this play goes on in April. So thank you again for coming. Thank you for your support. Thank you for raising some great kids. And I think we should discuss 2 weekends of the play instead of just one, because I think we're going to need to do it 2 weekends. Thank you again.
Thank you, Tola.
This past few days has been kind of tough for me. I've been in this area for 20 years, and I had 4 kids that went through the music program at Hampshire. The Hampshire music program is hands down, the best in this district, and I'm always so proud of this program. My kid went through a bunch of bullying and their friends who were LGBTQ. I would like to piggyback off of what Susan said earlier. In order to make this work, we all need to come together as a group. I'm really happy to hear what Mike Reed had to say, what Aaron Kelly had to say, and what Heather Fodor had to say. Everything starts with the village. Heck, we still have Cone Creek going on in Hampshire. If you don't want to be called something, you need to stand up to what makes people uncomfortable. Cone Creek makes marginalized people uncomfortable. Cone is a family name. If the family is so proud of what they've done for Hampshire, heck, that name needs to be changed. We all need to come in partnership to make this work and come together with a safety plan. I see you, I hear you, and I am with you. When I ran for office, this was one of the reasons why I ran. There was no way I was gonna run for a board member just for nothing, but I'm doing it for the kids, and we all need to come together to support them. I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure that this show goes on, because it means so much to me. And I am so proud of all you kids for standing up for what you believe in and keep doing what you're doing. You're gonna go far in life.
Thank you. Steve, did you want to add anything else?
Yeah, I'd like to read
Sure.
a statement as well.
Sure.
I again want to thank everybody here and that's out there virtually. I want to thank everybody that sent messages to us over the last several days regarding the prom. And I assure you that I and we have read all of them. I appreciate the overarching theme of acceptance, diversity, and love. As a dad of a music theater student, I'm very aware of the importance of allowing the students and the staff to be in control of selecting the musical to be performed. This is an integral part of their artistic expression. Now, I would have preferred a safety plan have been developed prior to the musical announcement, reducing conflict and concern within our entire community. Ultimately, it's our administration's job to keep our students and staff safe, and I support their commitment to this critical process. It's my hope, after receiving a comprehensive plan from the HHS team and administration and law enforcement, the D300 administration will allow the students to present this very funny, heartwarming musical with a great message to the D300 community. It's always the time to take a stand against hate and suppression. I pray that our community will embrace the comedy and the music of this performance in April. Thanks.
Thank you. No? Randy?
I just wanted to state that I know this was an emotional weekend after the events surrounding the prom unfolded. I realize the hurt it brought to our students and their families. I'm an ally, an advocate, and supporter for the LGBTQI+ community. The decision surrounding the performance of the prom is a delicate one, as it must weigh the safety of our students against making sure our LGBTQI+ students feel seen and heard. I believe in my heart that it's very important for all students to be able to watch and participate in events that mirror their experiences. Everyone deserves to see themselves represented in theater, TV, and books, movies. I have so much respect for the students who stood up and fought for what they believe is right and just. You guys are amazing, and all the students who came to the meeting with Dr. Harkin. I have hope for our future as these students graduate, because I'm sure they'll exert the same passion in all they choose to do. It's also really great. Thank you guys, everybody, for coming tonight. It's just nice to see everybody here. I know it's hard to get out here on a Tuesday, but it's really appreciated that you guys came out and spoke up for what you believe in.
Christine?
Yeah, it's a tough thing to speak on this. It's been really emotional, you know, for our community and myself as well. I spent the weekend and the days since the meeting, you know, reading all your thoughts online, trying to gather information about, you know, how this decision was made, as well as fitting in watching the musical movie on Netflix, so I could really understand, you know, what are we talking about here, to, you know, be informed about this production. You know, what I have learned is that this decision is really multifaceted, and it's not really as clear-cut or as black and white as we'd like it to be in 2023. You know, it really honestly breaks my heart that we're at this place where we're even having to weigh the safety of the LGBTQ plus community with the ability to put on an artistic performance of subject matter that they see themselves in. But that's where we're at, unfortunately. I'd like to thank the 110 students who spoke at the meeting or who attended the meeting and the ones who spoke. I wish I could have been in the room to hear from you all, and I feel, though, that we may have had an encore tonight hearing from some of you again, and I really appreciate that. It's great to hear your voice and your perspective because you're the ones who walk those hallways. You're the ones who know what you're kind of, I don't know, up against or what may come your way. Hopefully it doesn't, but what the potential is there. So I think it's really critical that we hear directly from you, and I appreciate that we have tonight. I'd like to thank all the parents, the students, the community members who emailed us over the last few days to express your thoughts and your concerns, and just all your emotions about surrounding this musical production. Your voice is valued, it's been heard, and we see you, our students from the LGBTQ plus community, we really do. It may not seem like it today, but I hope that we can move, you know, past this and that you can believe that we really do care, because I know that we do. There are people in my life that I love and care about who are part of this community. So I was wearing two hats as I was thinking about this as well. Like, I'm thinking of as a parent, I'm thinking of it as a community member and as a board member who's trying to make sure, as others have stated, that we're really working in the best interests of all and that we can do this in a safe way, in a responsible way. I'd like to apologize for all the emotional distress this has caused everyone in our community, but I hope that, you know, there's maybe a bright side to this, that in the last few days, although it's been very difficult for many, I think this situation has led to a lot of really great conversations and a really big outpouring of support for our students and staff who are part of the LGBTQ plus community. So I'm trying to see a little bit of the bright side here. I think if we can all channel our emotions that we've had over the last few days and rally and hold those all together to support this community and this production, that really, I'm very hopeful that we can move forward safely and move on with the musical. And if we do, I'm happy to be there to watch it. Thank you.
Thank you. I just again want to say thank you to all of you here. There have been some contentious times in the past, and when presentations are made in a courteous and civil manner, all board members hear better. We truly do. And you all did a very fine job, and I appreciate it. What we will do now, if you choose, we're not going to be making a decision tonight. I just want to say that, if that is correct. We're going to continue with our meeting, so if you want to stick around, you are free to do so. If not, I'm just going to let's take a 5-minute recess, board members, okay? Just so. Yes, may I have a motion for a 5-minute recess, please?
So moved.
There you go. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Fiorentino.
Aye.
Thomas. Zettler. Scarpino. McKindy. Gauthier.
Aye.
Burkett. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Okay, board members, we all set? Here we go. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education, I would like to thank you for being in attendance, both virtually and in person, for tonight's board meeting. At this time, I would like to reconvene the meeting of the Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education to order for Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Burkett, present. Fiorentino.
Present.
Gothier.
Present.
McKindy. Scarpino.
Present.
Thomas.
Present.
Zettler.
Present.
You have 7 board members present.
Thank you. We are on item number 9, board announcements and good news. Board members?
All right. So the Technology Education Association of Illinois recognizes District 300 staff members. The Technology Education Association of Illinois highlighted several District 300 staff members as part of its 2023 Illinois Technology Education Conference, which took place last week at Illinois State University. First, Joe Sikowski, Director of CTE, Pathways and College Career Readiness for D300, was recognized at the event as Administrator of the Year for Illinois. He also received the event's Big Thinker Award for Advanced Innovative Work connected to technology and engineering education. Second, Phil Hernandez, an industrial technology teacher at Dundee Crown High School, was recognized at the event as Teacher of the Year for Illinois. And finally, John Uyghur, an industrial technology teacher at Hampshire High School, presented information at the conference on how model rocketry programs can help increase student engagement in STEM. District 300 congratulates its staff members for being recognized at the 2023 Illinois Technology Education Conference.
Dundee Crown High School organizes first girls flag football team. Dundee Crown High School has formed its first girls flag football team. The team has more than 30 players and 2 coaches. School District Athletic Director Steve Gertz helped make the team possible after partnering with the Chicago Bears organization. Representatives from the Bears were on site earlier this month to congratulate the team and hand out free Bears apparel for future Chargers. District 300 congratulates Dundee Crown High School for forming its first girls flag football team.
Anthony Lewis, who has been working as a District 300 bus driver through Durham School Services since 2021, was recently named an Honorary Player of the Week by the Jacobs High School football team. Mr. Anthony, as he is affectionately known, earned the distinction not only for safely transporting the team this season, but also for helping motivate the players. District 300 congratulates Mr. Anthony for being named an Honorary Player of the Week by the Jacobs High School football team. Cool.
Gilbert's Elementary School Principal Tom Rusniak recently donned a unicorn costume after his students helped raise more than $20,000 for the school, exceeding the building's goal of $15,000. The Raise Craze fundraiser was tied to acts of kindness and included bringing in items for D300 food pantry. D300 congratulates Gilbert's Elementary for hosting a successful school fundraiser, and I think Mr. Rusniak is going to be passing around his unicorn uniform.
The 2024-25 high school course selection guide is now available on the District 300 website at d300.org/course selection guide. The course guide contains information about instructional programs, graduation requirements, and courses offered at District 300 high schools. This evening's parents and guardians of current freshmen, sophomores, and juniors will receive a RCS email message from their student's high school that contains specific instructions on the course selections process, which begins in November. Meanwhile, families of current 8th grade students are invited to watch a new freshman elective information video at d300.org/freshman electives. The elective request process for current 8th grade students begins Tuesday, January 23rd, with Dundee Crown, Hampshire, and Jacobs High Schools hosting high school transition nights the previous day on Monday, January 22nd at 6 p.m. Did I say January? Okay, additional resources for incoming freshmen are available at d300.org/freshmen.
Item number 10, Superintendent Report. Dr. Harkin.
Yes, we will have some brief superintendent's reports tonight because it's been a long evening, but I definitely want to provide two updates. So the first update is on Goal 3 of our strategic plan, and then we also will be providing an update on our master facility and school utilization plan.
Good evening, Superintendent. All right, now I can sound a little bit better there. All right, good evening, Superintendent Harkin and Board of Education members. As Dr. Harkin said tonight, I'm pleased to provide you an update on the status of our work in Goal 3. Goal 3 has three key priority areas. Last meeting, we provided you an update on our work in Goal 3A on attracting and retaining diverse, high-quality candidates. Tonight, we're going to talk about the progress in our priority tasks 3B and 3C. So priority task area 3B is focused on our staff morale work as a way to identify opportunities to address staff concerns and improve our district culture and trust. The problems we're looking to address in the work related to 3B include how we support and retain our staff while they face the pressures to improve our student performance and our children's well-being. These are challenges that don't exist just in District 300. Teacher burnout and supporting teaching staff is an issue across the state of Illinois and the country as a whole. Through our work in 3B, we want to identify the staff's top areas of concerns and the root issues that are causing them. And although we know that the staff may have a variety of concerns, our goal is to really prioritize 1 to 2 key areas that we can address and to come up with solutions collaboratively of how we can improve those for our staff. So how do we hope to achieve those outcomes? In order to do that, we need to continue to conduct our staff morale survey on a twice-a-year basis. We've already sent out the fall survey to staff and are anxiously awaiting those results. Once we have them, we'll be able to share those with staff and building leaders and continue the work that we're doing with our research staff for opportunities for improvement. So right now, we're currently working on 2 priorities from the spring of 2023, one on supporting staff with student behaviors, and the other one focused on professional development that we're going to talk about in more depth when we get to 3C. In terms of our 3 key performance indicators in 3B, all of them do have room for improvement. The first KPI, or key performance indicator, is focused on staff participation in the morale survey. Our target for May 2024 is a 50% participation rate, and we are currently at 38%. We know that our staff have a lot on their plates, and so we're going to be providing them some time this fall to be able to complete that and hope to see an opportunity to get more feedback from more staff. And we do believe that may positively impact the next 2 KPIs. Our second key indicator is focused on utilizing staff's perception of us utilizing the staff morale work to inform decisions and for staff to feel like their concerns are being heard. Currently, our rating is at 3.20, and we hope to improve that by a 10th. In the area of the staff morale overall score, our target is a 3.6, and we're currently at a 3.51. Again, with a lower participation rate, we may not be hearing from all of our staff, so increasing that, we hope, will also positively impact our other key performance indicators. So next steps, one of them already in progress, sending out that fall survey. And from that, we will then identify the one to 2 district priorities from the results. We're going to follow up with a thought exchange to get more feedback from our staff. And buildings will then begin identifying 1 to 2 key building level priorities and develop plans that they can communicate to their staff of how they're going to address those building level priorities. Moving on to 3C. 3C is focused on developing and utilizing a comprehensive professional development plan. So we've talked about this before, that our student social, emotional, and learning needs are very diverse. And so high quality professional development is a critical strategy to equip our staff with the knowledge, the skills, and the tools to help meet these challenging needs and to help our students grow. Sometimes people perceive that professional development is about the adults. It's actually about how we help adults to help our students. And so our students are the people who truly reap the benefits of effective professional development. So therefore, it's really important that we maximize the limited time that we have and that people feel that the professional development is relevant to their specific job role and supports those targeted areas we need for student growth and development. So the concerns that we're looking to address really revolve around the strategic design and delivery of professional development to improve and support student development and learning. Through this goal priority area, we hope to align professional development learning structures and provide differentiated activities that support staffs in their specific roles. We recognize that the importance of ensuring that the time that staff do have in professional development is effective and results in outcomes for both the staff and for how they can serve students. So in order to achieve those results, we actually need to focus our energies on providing opportunities to support the student performance data and needs to conduct a yearly professional development needs assessment. We have done that for the last 2 years, and that provides us a focus on what staff feel they need in order to achieve our outcomes. And ultimately, we need to develop a comprehensive professional development plan that'll include not only those key structures such as late starts, in-services, D300U, that's what we're talking about when we talk about structures, but also we'll have a professional development catalog that changes yearly that specifically lists what are the activities that we're offering across all of our employee groups to support both our students' needs, the needs that staff identify, and the work of the strategic plan. So currently, a lot of the work that we have been engaging in over the summer and fall was in building the PD activity catalog for 23-24. So for our lead staff, we've really focused this year on having differentiated professional development by role for late start and early release, and we have a lot of roles. When we look at the line items, we're talking about over 80 different line items when we decide to do a differentiated professional development day. So kudos to Allison Koss, who is our Director of Professional Development, who works actively with this. We're also looking at ways that we can diversify the offerings that we have in voluntary professional development activities, such as D300U and Ed to Ed and Parapalooza, which Ed to Ed and Parapalooza, again, are the what we host on Kane County Day for our lead and our DESA staff. For our DESPA staff members, we held a DESPA Day in July, a full professional development day, and we've launched our DESPA Pathways that offer differentiated learning opportunities throughout the year based on role-specific needs. We've also started the process of developing DESPA onboarding frameworks, utilizing a small work group with both leaders and actual staff who are in those roles. The onboarding framework is a specific professional development plan that would be provided for DESPA employees that talks about what PD they need on the first day, the first week, the first month, the first 6 months, and the first year of employment. Ultimately, there are over 40 plus roles, which would mean over 40 plus onboarding frameworks that we are developing. In addition, we've completed onboarding activities for all new administrative hires in July, focused in areas such as learning in D300, education services, discipline, evaluation, technology. And we're continuing to provide our administrators professional development throughout the year in areas that are aligned to the strategic plan, including content area PD, PLCs, and the new Danielson framework. We have also implemented a full substitute professional development plan for our full-time substitutes and our daily subs through EduStaff. We are also obviously focusing on the development of that comprehensive professional development plan so that we can ensure that we're providing high quality, relevant, and accessible professional learning to a variety of employee groups. And so far we have focused on what structures exist, what do strong sample model plans look like, and we're beginning that draft of that plan. For Goal 3, the key performance indicators include the development of the comprehensive professional development plan, the PD catalog for 23-24, and the PD catalog for 24-25. For each of these, the target is 100% completion by May of 2024. And you can see that we have some significant progress going on in the comprehensive professional development plan. We're at 36%. As you would expect to see, our highest percentage is in the PD catalog for 23-24 at 81%. The remaining items are those events that will be held in the spring, such as Ed to Ed and Parapalooza. And then we have just begun work in the PD catalog for 24-25. So lots of things to come here, continuing to analyze late start and in-service feedback that our staff provides. We analyze that, provide it to our assistant superintendents and our building level staff, building level administrators, so they can use that in the design of their PD. We're going to be finalizing our catalogs for Ed to Ed and Parapalooza. We have a November DESPA PD day on the same day as we have one of our parent-teacher conferences. We're going to finalize our winter and spring D300U catalog. Obviously finish that draft of the comprehensive PD plan so that we can then get feedback from staff prior to it becoming finalized, and continue that initial planning in 24-25. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Board Member McKindy for her comments about our work in 3B and 3C.
It's just really exciting to see all the work that's been put in place for our educators. And I just want to employ all our educators and staff to make sure to take advantage of the surveys, because if you don't know how you're feeling, no one can, I mean, there's no way to provide the support that you need. So make sure you're filling those out. And also, I really like the PDs, how we're enhancing them as we go along and developing one so that they can be used to support our staff as well. So I'm really looking forward to see the outcome in 2024 and see what the numbers are.
And I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Board members, any questions? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Harkin, members of the board. I am here tonight for our annual review of our projected enrollment numbers and what impact these may have on our district. So the first slide shows us our current enrollment numbers as of September 30th. That was the same time we took it last year, so I try to keep these numbers consistent. As the slide illustrates, we are seeing an increase in our pre-K through middle school population, with a total of overall increase of 99 students from this same time last year. And then we see a slight decrease in Cambridge Lakes and our outplaced schools. Now, this is where we get into the projection side of the presentation. Now, when we look at our housing developments, we can see that there has been an increase of 2,212 units being projected over the next 10 years as compared to the numbers we received last year. Last year we were given a total of 4,721 units. This year we are now projecting at 6,933. Now what that means in terms of students is that they are projecting that we will have an increase over these 10 years of over 3,000 additional students into our district with these units being created. Okay, and so if we look at the map, we can see that we are having developments all over our district, but with the majority of them being in the western half of our district. What this means is that the increase in student population will primarily affect our western schools, but as you can see, there are still pockets here and there, so we will have increases in a lot of our other schools. Okay, so when we look at our elementary schools, we can see that we are projecting that we will have an increased enrollment at 13 of our 18 elementary schools, with Big Timber being the largest percent increase projected for next year. Now, most of these schools will also see an increase in projected enrollment in the following year also. But I would like to take a moment here to acknowledge the foresight of this board and Superintendent Harkin on the construction of Big Timber, because if you combine the numbers of Big Timber and Gary D. Wright, you're at about 1,000 students. Gary D. Wright can only hold 875. So without the construction of Big Timber, we would be in a big trouble right now with our student population in that area. So thank you for building Big Timber. Okay, so now if we Oh yeah, I wanted to point out the red schools there. So those schools are still projecting to be increasing next year, but they are also showing limits to their capacity. So I'm going to talk about those schools a little bit later, but I just want to showcase these are 3 of our schools that are increasing, but we will have to keep an eye on them a little bit more. Okay, so now when we look at our middle school and high schools, these are the schools that are projecting to have an increase for next year. It's our Hampshire Middle School and Westfield Community School for the middle school, and then Hampshire High School. Again, this is, you can see as a result of the continued development on our western side, those are the schools that are showing an increase in enrollment. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit deeper dive into all the schools in general. So when we start with our elementary schools, you can see that I mentioned 3 of the schools on the right are our red schools. Parkview is also on there, but it is showing a decrease in enrollment for next year, so it wasn't on the first sheet. The rest of the schools are showing that we have 3 or more, sometimes 6 or more available sections, classroom space available to take on these additional students. It's the red schools that we then have to be more concerned about their size. In general, we're not that concerned because we can make adjustments to their section enrollment numbers to handle the increase in students. Okay. So when we look at this, we've got Dundee Highlands has been continuous for 2 additional sections are available for the foreseeable future, and it's what it's been like for the past right now too. So we're not as concerned about Dundee Highlands because it has been able to maintain these type of enrollment numbers. It's just for the size of the building, it is a little cramped if we were to have an increase in enrollment, but it is not projected to have any impact on the school. Eastview is a little bit different of a story. We're looking at next year at having no additional space available, so they will have enough for the amount of sections that they have in that school, but not enough for an additional one after that. And if you're looking 3 years down the line, actually 4 years down the line, we are going to have negative space in that school. So we will have to really think about the type of our section enrollment numbers that we need to do. Ms. Porter will talk a little bit more about what our plans are for handling these type of situations. Okay, Lincoln Prairie, next year is going to be okay. Then we're looking at the continuing years after that, it's going to have the same issue as our Eastview school did. And then Parkview, we don't really have much issue with it coming up in the near future. Just coming up in 2028 and 2029, we're going to see a negative number of the available sections that we can put into that school. We look at our middle schools and high schools a little differently. We look at the total capacity of the school and the amount of students in attendance, whereas our elementary schools, we look at a calculation to determine the amount of sections needed per grade level. So when we look at here, we see that next year we're going to be okay, but Dundee Middle School is definitely on our radar as a concern for the foreseeable future in the amount of space available in that school. Okay, and then Hampshire and Westfield are also seeing that. Again, that's as a result of all the continued construction in the western part of our district. Okay, and then our high schools, we're not super concerned about that right now. You can see it, we don't really have any kind of negative impact on our capacity until 2031. So a lot can change. Like I said, we just got 2,000 more homes projected for this year as we did last year, so we don't know what's going to come in the future. But for the next couple years, we're doing okay on our high school level. Okay, so if I'm just going to circle back on those red schools for elementary, those are our concern right now. But again, there is limited new construction in those areas, and so anything that we need to deal with for next year can be handled through absorbing into a section enrollment cap. So increasing the enrollment numbers for those schools, we can handle anything that's going on with our red schools. Now, dealing with the rest, I'm going to turn that over to Jennifer here.
Thanks, John. As John shared, we have some concerns as it relates to our growing enrollment and how it affects the utilization of our buildings. We continually monitor growth in our communities to stay ahead of any potential issues. Addressing overcapacity in schools requires strategic planning and difficult decision-making because of how it impacts our students and communities. School rezoning is a complex process. This disruption can be emotionally challenging for students, potentially affecting their academic performance and mental well-being. In 2031, we are projected to be out of middle school seats at all of our middle schools. As early as 25-26 school year, we may need to look at rezoning for lack of seats at DMS, as John indicated. We would have to consider where open seats are and weigh all factors. Another option is to create rolling boundaries. Implementing rolling boundaries refers to adjusting attendance zones based on enrollments over time. It means constant change to accommodate shifts in the student population. An option that we try to avoid is the movement of specialized programs. These are our most fragile students. Potential change can impact the students quite severely. Shifting specials to carts is a practice that we have worked hard to get away from. Having specials on carts can limit the interactive learning experience, impacting engagement and educational development. Larger class sizes are an option that would lead to additional costs for overload pay, as outlined in our collective bargaining agreement. For students, it can potentially reduce personalized attention. Adding mobile classrooms might create a temporary solution, but those spaces often lack the necessary facilities and do not offer the same level of safety and security as our buildings. And lastly, identifying funding for new classrooms. Resources are limited, and as we complete the master facility planning process, we will delve more into targeting funding opportunities. Again, all of these are difficult decisions that affect all stakeholders. We are not making any recommendations at this time and have not come to any decisions. This is strictly information. Next steps. By the end of December, we plan to finalize the evaluation of our facility and grounds, document essential maintenance needs, and identify areas for optimal environment enhancements. Administration is also performing a pragmatic review of existing programs and evaluating alignment with enrollment projections and community needs. In this process, opportunities may be identified for program expansion or consolidation. In January, in consulting with our architects, we will evaluate the priority list for facility improvements and maintenance and ensure alignment of maintenance needs and capacity requirements. In addition, we will verify budgetary estimates for each identified priority item. And again, we are going with better, best, good, better, best. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Harkin. During this time, we'll develop the school utilization and a master facility comprehensive plan. This will integrate findings from the enrollment analysis, pragmatic review, and facility priority lists. This plan will address building maintenance, capacity, and optimal learning environment enhancements. It will also include strategies for implementation, timelines, and resource allocations. In February, we'll return to provide recommendations to the board outlining the comprehensive plan, which will include a rationale behind each recommendation. We will address potential concerns and questions, gather feedback, and make necessary revisions as needed to plan based on the input received. As we conclude this evening, I want to reiterate that no recommendations have been formulated at this time. We know that this is a lot of information. We also know it's been a long night. We appreciate your time, and we are committed to making recommendations in the best interest of our students and the community. John and I are happy to address any questions that you may have from the information that we presented.
Board members, any questions?
Not at this time.
I have a couple. I'm sorry, I apologize. Can you go to slide 56, please? When it says 6 and over available rooms, the rooms, are the rooms being utilized possibly in some other fashion? Maybe they're not a full-size
I can answer that one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You know, certainly, and we've discussed this as part of the joint board committee, is certainly, especially in some of these schools, if they're older schools, we currently don't have the typical resources that a newer school would have for the services we provide to students. So absolutely. I will tell you though, the space that is currently at Big Timber and Gary D. Wright is had been planned to absorb future growth as well. So in some cases, there are a few empty classrooms, but it's anticipation for the growth that we currently have. In most other cases, there's programs and services being provided to students to support our student learning in that space.
Thank you.
But if we needed it for enrollment purposes, we would force those programs to be somewhere else.
Thank you. And then slide 65, please. Am I to understand this, what you have here, finalized master facility plan work, et cetera, will some of that work be done at the operations committee?
Yes, it will be done at the operations committee. It will be done, administration will put together, obviously, information, and we will present a lot of it at the operations committee.
Thank you.
And we will start that next month.
Thank you very much. Okay, and thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. The consent items, item number 11, consent items under $25,000. As a note to those in attendance, both virtually and in person, some of these items have been vetted through the Board Operations Committee, which is why there may not be a need for new discussion. Do I have a motion to approve the consent items under $25,000?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Zettler,
Aye.
Fiorentino.
Aye.
Gauthier.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
McKindy.
Aye.
Scarpino.
Aye.
Burkett, aye. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Item number 12, consent items over $25,000. As a note to those in attendance, both virtually and in person, some of these items have been vetted through the Board Operations Committee, which is why there may not be a need for new discussion. Do I have a motion to approve the consent items over $25,000?
So moved. Second.
Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Gauthier.
Aye.
McKindy.
Aye.
Scarpino.
Aye.
Zettler.
Aye.
Burkett, aye. Fiorentino.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Board discussion, item 13.1, Standing Board Operations Committee. Anything new at all?
When is our next? November
November 4th.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Monday, November 4th, at 4:30 is our next meeting.
Okay. Okay. Item 13.2, board discussion as regarding the resolutions. Christine.
Right, so last meeting, we kind of walked through some of the resolutions that will be up for vote at the Tri-Conference in November. Dr. Scarpino, you weren't here. I think was everyone else here? Oh, Steve, you were not here either. So we kind of read through the recommendations and or read through the resolutions and then what the recommendations were from the committees. And Dr. Harkin has provided an update based on the administration's recommendations. Was this shared with everyone?
Everybody had it at
Okay.
their seat tonight.
Okay,
so that
great.
was-
Okay.
You certainly have one more meeting, but that was the feedback from my
Okay,
team.
so I
specifically
think I
Ms.
would just ask that you read through the feedback from administration and that we were prepared to discuss, people's thoughts on the resolutions and how we want to vote as a district at the delegate assembly in November. Unless anyone has some thoughts they want to share tonight, but I think everyone might be tired.
Okay, any board member have anything you want to comment on? No? We are now on, for closed session, item 14. Do I have a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of discussing, 1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body, 2, parenthesis 1, number 2, litigation, 2, parenthesis 11, and 3, security procedures, school building safety and security, and the use of personnel to respond to an actual, a threatened, or a reasonably potential danger to the safety of employees, students, staff, the public, or public property, 2, parenthesis 8. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
So who had Me. Okay, and then who was second?
Me?
Cola.
Okay, thank you. When you all do it at the same time, it's hard. Okay, Zettler. Aye. McKindy.
Aye.
Scarpino. Thomas. Guthier.
Aye.
Ferrantino.
Aye.
Burkett. Aye. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, and there will be no action to follow.